on my way to go camping this weekend, so naturally, I want to scare myself before I go. Today, I will explore the case that created the phrase, "A dingo ate my baby." I'm Cassie, and I hope you stick around. Let me take you back to August 16th, 1980. The Chamberlain family would arrive to their campsite at Uluru Rock, formerly Ayers Rock. The family consisted of Michael, Lindy, their boys, Aiden, who was 6, and Reagan, 4, and their little girl, 9-week-old Azaria. On August 17th, the family would hike and explore around Uluru Rock. There were other families camping in the area, and the Chamberlains would barbecue in the communal area for dinner. The family would have several encounters with dingoes, even feeding a piece of food to one the evening of the 17th. There were no recorded attacks of dingoes on humans at this time. Dingoes were usually scavengers and thought to be skittish around humans. The families probably felt safe camping with their children. Shortly before 8 p.m., Lindy would put Reagan and Azaria to bed in their tent. Lindy would then go back to the communal area where Michael and Aiden were. Lindy would hear her baby cry around 8 p.m., and she would go to check on her. Lindy would see a dingo leaving their tent. Lindy would then go into her tent and quickly realize Azaria was gone. At this point, she would scream, "A dingo's got my baby." Aiden, who was 6, told a witness, "The dingo's got our baby in its tummy." A frantic search would begin, and nearly 300 people would participate, but there was no trace of Azaria. 7 days after Azaria disappeared, Wallace Goodwin, a tourist familiar with the area, would find a blood-stained jumpsuit, singlet, baby booties, and a diaper near the base of Uluru Rock. Wallace would also mention dingoes in the area had become more bold and less afraid of humans. The media would cause a large amount of interest and speculation regarding Azaria's disappearance. This would end up being extremely damaging to Lindy and Michael. On February 20th, 1981, a coroner, during the first inquest, would determine Azaria had been killed by a dingo. He did, however, believe the clothing showed signs of being tampered with by a human. Wallace, who found the clothes, swears he did not touch them. Due to the pressures of an unsatisfied public, the bloody clothing was sent for further examination. The police would also raid the Chamberlains' home. This added to the media frenzy. This second inquest led to experts claiming they found markings around the neck of the jumpsuit and possibly an adult handprint. It was thought Azaria had her throat slit. On February 2nd, 1982, Lindy was charged with murder. Michael was charged with accessory after the fact. Lindy was pregnant during her trial. Prosecutors would claim Lindy had killed Azaria, hid her baby in their family car, and staged the dingo attack. The evidence was largely circumstantial. There was a claim of blood spray in the family car. Years later, in 1988, this would be found to possibly be a compound put in the car during manufacturing. Indigenous trackers and fellow campers would support Lindy's version of events. But it would not be enough. Lindy would be found guilty. Her trial was a spectacle, and people would even sell souvenirs outside the courthouse. There were even rumors Azaria was killed as part of a religious sacrifice. Lindy would be sentenced to life in prison and gave birth to her second daughter there. Michael was given an 18-month suspended sentence. Lindy would attempt to appeal her case 2 times, but it was denied. 6 years after Azaria disappeared, new evidence would appear. A British tourist would fall to his death at Uluru Rock while searching for his body on February 2nd, 1986. Azaria's matinee jacket would be found partially buried near a dingo lair. Police did not believe it had existed before this point, even though Lindy said Azaria had been wearing it. This was a huge part of Lindy's defense and gave weight to her original story. Lindy would be released on February 7th, 1986. Lindy and Michael were officially acquitted in September of 1988. It was during this time the baby blood in their car was put into question and was likely not blood at all. In 1988, the movie A Cry in the Dark was released. Though the movie and true story were tragic, pop culture latched onto the "Dingo's Got My Baby" quote. It was often used as a comedic reference on shows like Seinfeld and The Simpsons. This to me shows the lack of respect the media gave Lindy and Michael, portraying them as guilty early on. Lindy and Michael divorced in 1991 and in 1992 were awarded $1.3 million plus legal fees from the Northern Territory government. A third inquest was opened, but Azaria's cause of death was left open. The Chamberlains never stopped fighting to resolve the investigation into Azaria's death. A new inquest would be opened in 2012. The coroners that looked over Azaria's investigation determined her cause of death to be from a dingo attack. This was partially because, over the years since Azaria was killed, more dingo attacks on children and infants occurred. Lindy and Michael had both remarried. Their children have also grown, though Azaria's death was not forgotten. Aiden blamed himself silently for years for not zipping up the tent. Lindy insists it wouldn't have made a difference, and dingoes were smart enough to get in. Reagan, who was in the tent, had more rumors spread that he had killed his sister and Lindy had covered it up. He was just 4 years old. Michael passed away January 9th, 2017. I hope everyone has found peace after the years of media abuse this family faced. I hope I see you again sometime. Bye.